Well, this episode is going to be a bit of a short one, but we're going to review two things. One, AEW's Women's Tag Team Cup, and of course, a little throwback wrestling event from uh, all-female wrestling promotion called Pro Wrestling out of the UK, and also give you guys some news updates. So all of that is coming up on this episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up. 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 Get up, get up.
Hey everybody, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things pro wrestling from AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, many promotions, matches, wrestlers, and championships. I'm your host, J-Rod, so let's get started right away with the All Elite Wrestling's Women's Tag Team Cup Tournament. As you know, we already had the first week. We already saw the winners of Tay Conti and Anna Jay, and of course the Nightmare Sister winning their first rounds. But this time we're continuing more with the first round picks. As you know, they're continuing on this one. This is something that are focusing. Now, I don't know exactly. I think this was a good idea, but I think many fans have been maybe wondering why isn't this on TV. So there's been a lot of controversy on that. But I like to talk about this to see how you guys react. So let's start with the whole thing. So this is the Deadly Drop Night 1. As you know, Big Swole is in it, and of course she picked her chip, and it turned out it was Little Swole, or as some independent wrestling fans may recognize her, Nicole Savoy, or whatever her name is. So they teamed up together, and they were facing with a very unusual duo, Leva Bates, the Librarian, and of course, Roche Chanel. So this one was a very interesting match. Now, however, in this type of dynamic between both Little and Big Swole, Little Swole is a bit of a razzle dazzle type, where she, can't control herself. But Big Swole, who's trying to be the big sister, as I like to put out, tries to control her. But at some moments, she loses her control, especially when Leva Bates is being accompanied by the other Librarian, and I'm referring to the other Peter Avalon. So he was there too, as always. But there was some moments where Little Swole was like questioning, what is Roche Chanel doing? She had this comb, like, I'm like, what the hell? This is not a cartoon. But frankly, it didn't go away the way both Leva and Roche wanted. But I'm glad it was Little Swole and Big Swole. They advanced and passes the first rounds. They'll be going into the finals. I'm assuming they'll be facing against the Nightmare Sisters. Now, the next round pick, this one was a very interesting. As soon as Daja Gonzalez was getting ready to get the next person to pick their chip, out of nowhere, wrestling legend Medusa shows up and had Dasha Gonzalez pick out her chip. Now, this is something very special. Now, if you guys are not fans of Dasha Gonzalez, please do your research. This woman has been in the business for a while. She wanted to be a wrestler. She hardly got any wrestling time. She became a ring announcer backstage with WWE. But now that she's with AEW, she has now fulfilling another dream of hers. This wasn't her first time wrestling. She actually wrestled against Renee Michelle, Drake Maverick's wife, at Flatbacks Wrestling, which is the wrestling school run by both Sean Spears and Tyler Breeze. But her tag team partner was someone who is a second generation wrestler, and I'm referring to Rachel Ellering. Now, if you guys don't know who Rachel Ellering is, she is the daughter of Paul Ellering, who was a wrestler in his own right, but at the same time, he was well known becoming a manager for wrestlers, especially the legendary tag team, the Road Warriors, or as we know them, the Legion of Doom. So this was a very interesting. Now the next draw was in fact Evilise. She picked out her chip, and it turns out her partner turned out to be Diamante. This was a very unique tag team. Reason I say this, both of them are both Hispanic. Evilise, she is Puerto Rican. That makes her the Baricuay. And of course, you've got Diamante, who's Cuban descent. So basically, it's more of a good dynamic between them. Their styles are very similar in every way possible. So they were facing against Daja and, of course, Rachel Allin. But much of the match, I enjoyed how Daja put out a great performance, especially when she hold on her own. I really loved it. But was I expecting for Daja to win? Maybe a 50-50. But for 100% sure, I did expect it was going to be Evilise and Diamante. Reason is they're more of the aggressive. I feel AEW should just sign these two. They're perfect. They could form have them form like a somewhat version of the LAX, full of Latinos. That's something we need to have, and LA, both Santana Ortiz should ditch Jericho and join them. That's what many of us have talked about, or many others who talked about it should do. So basically, Evilise and Diamante actually won the respected. They're next to face in the semifinals against Tay Conti and Anna Jay. This is going to be one tough match. I can guarantee you when that happens. Now they jump into the to interviews with Little and Big Swole. So basically, they're excited. They're not afraid of the Nightmare Sisters. They're ready for them. As for Daja, as we all know, her history, if you guys haven't, you can look it up. You can look at the interview that Daja had with Chris Van Vliet. I'll try to put the description down below so you guys can see it. She said that she was grateful for the opportunity for AEW to give her a shot to wrestle for this tournament, and she said this may not be the last time she will be wrestling. We may see her again. I just hope it could be soon. I know she has a lot of work to do, and on Twitter, of course, Evilise and Diamante praise her, knowing she did a great job, and of course, she knows how important this is to her too. So next week, we got for the semifinals, we have Little and Big Swole facing off against the Nightmare Sisters in the semifinals, and for the second match for the semifinals, we have Evilise and Diamante facing off Tay Conti and Anna Jay. Now, these are two of the second match is one I cannot miss. The one with Evilise and Diamante facing off against Tay Conti and Anna Jay. This is going to be one explosive match. Trust me, this is what you don't want to miss. So I think that is it for now, what I got for AEW. So let's move on with a throwback wrestling event with Pro Wrestling Eve. Okay, so we're throwing you guys a wrestling throwback event. So this one is from 2 years ago, May 8th of 2018. This one was evented by all-female promotion based out of the UK, Pro Wrestling Eve. And their event is called Wrestle Queendom, the very first one. This is like their version of a WrestleMania event. This one, I never heard of it. Now, if you guys are not familiarized with this promotion, you can look it up on YouTube or do some research online. You can find them. This particular event, I actually saw. You can actually see some events that they posted out on Fight TV. The event, I think, might have cost me like $9.99. I enjoyed this event a lot because it's an all-female promotion. The only drawback for this one is that there were certain things they had to do, and you have the announcers. Somehow they were able to, only if you attend a wrestling event, like for example either AEW or WWE or any other type of promotion, you cannot hear the commentators what they're saying. because you only have to see that on TV. But in this one, they somehow were able to allow for the fans to hear it. But once the match starts, no, the commentators, it's all silent, but they still continue to talk to each other when the match is happening. So this particular match took in your call, I think, and I really liked how this event went because, as you know, I like how certain wrestling promotions that have women on it, like for example, Stardom and the Women of Wrestling, or should we go WOW, and of course the new promotion that Thunder Rosa's producing called Mission Pro Wrestling that she and her husband started, and now she's running on her own. But Pro Wrestling TV is one of those promotions that I feel is one of that we need to pay attention, because there's a lot of good women promotions out there. If you're not a fan of it, then get out of my bus. But let's get started from start to finish on this particular event. It's hosted by one of the founders. I think her name is Emily Reed. She not only plays a founder, but she played for the night as the host slash announcer, which is good. Um, I have to say she's really good at what she does. I like that, out of her. I don't know much about her, but I can't wait to see more of her. Now, the first match, this is a version of the War Games. If you're not familiarized with the War Games, then you guys are missing out. They had two teams. The first team was the Deserving. It's consistent of four women wrestlers: Jayla Dark, Jamie Hayter, Charlie Evans, and Blue Nikita, facing off against the Squad Goals: Rhea O'Reilly, Addie Starr, Laura Mateo, and of course, you may know this individual all the way from Japan, who is in fact a wrestling trainer and a promoter, the one and only Emi Sakura. Now, the rules of this match is a War Games rules steel cage match. The idea is two women will start it out. Whoever they do a coin toss, which team will go, either the Deserving or Squad Goals. So Emi Sakura was the first to start. So basically, it goes on. Now the match officially starts once all both teams are in the cage, and that's how it goes. And it's a brutal match. I love how this one was going, how it was gonna be. Um, I was like, I didn't know what to expect. And this is completely different how we normally do. Now, if you saw the version of the War Games with WWE or with NXT, how they have a cage instead, it wasn't like that. They were on the outside waiting till they're being called out. But these two teams hate each other. They were willing to take each other out no matter what. But the way it ended, Rhea O'Reilly picked up the victory for her team, and I have to say this is a good match. I liked it. Now, as soon as they're removing the cage, now like I said, there was no commercials. As soon as the staff members or the crew for this promotion were trying to remove the cage out, Emily Reed was about to give an announcement, and all of a sudden she showed this person named Jeddah shows up because she was already scheduled for a match called the Final Wildcard match. Now, this particular match was set up to find out who will take the last position of the 6 women who will participate in the wildcard match, which contains a briefcase of the contract for the Eve Championship. So there were only 1 spot left, only 2 will be able to make it. Jeddah, on the other hand, comes out, interrupting Emily Reed. And of course, she was demanding respect, believing once she gets it, people don't like her, but she wants people to like her. Nobody likes her. But her opponent of the day is someone you may have heard if you're a Japanese fan from Stardom. Her opponent is Chris Wolf. Now, there were some funny moments in this match between Chris Wolf and Jeddah. Now, Jeddah is a really mean girl, but with Chris Wolf, she knows exactly what to do. She knows how to play fun. She plays like this role as an animal. Very good. I heard of her. I've seen her on the documentary of the wrestlers when they did an episode with Stardom. But man, she knows how to make a funny statement. It's sad that she retired, but her work will not go down in vain. But however, this match ended very unusual. The ref had no clue what to do. What happened is both women's shoulders were pinned on the mat. Basically, it's still undecided. So basically, the ref made the unusual decision. And like they always say, if you're a referee, if you follow refs, the ball is in your court. So her decision, yes, it was a female ref, she gave the victory to both. So it was a draw. Now, Jeddah and Chris were not happy, but however, the show must go on. So they jump in right away with the wild card match. Now, however, this match, the wild card match, is a ladder match. Whoever picks up the victory, gets the briefcase, will get a opportunity of the E Championship. Now, we do know already Jeddah and Chris Wolf are involved. Now, who else is involved in this match? So let's find out who are. We have Nina Samuels, Leah Owens, Casey Owens, Livy Grace, Millie McKenzie. I think that's it. Now, this particular match, there were some funny moments with Jeddah. Jeddah had a smaller ladder. Reason is, she's afraid of heights. Then why in the world are you in a match if you're afraid of heights? You've been demanding respect. You're too high. Why you need a smaller ladder? You need a big ladder. But man, this match was so brutal. Even when they jumped out of the ring, it was so crazy. It was a very tight space. But sadly in this match, Leah Owens, one of the competitors, got hurt and they had to take her out of the match due to the fact that she cannot continue. But the person who won is Nina Samuels. Nobody likes her. She is like a version of the Ric Flair who doesn't care what you people think type, but it's pretty awesome how it went. So she gave a little promo about she doesn't care what people say, they just got to get used to her. So that's how it was. Next match, we have a very interesting match. It's called the International Dream Match, featuring Kaylee Ray. If you guys are familiarized with her, she's the current NXT UK Women's Champion, facing off a Japanese wrestler named Meiko Satomura. Now, according to what the commentators, what they said, she has two sides. It was unbelievable. This match was so insane. Because from what I was hearing, Meiko hasn't been pinned ever. And it was a big deal in this match. I just didn't know what to expect. But I loved it. I enjoyed it. I would love to follow more about Meiko Satomura. Hopefully I can learn more, and I can't wait to see it. But of course, the biggest shock, Meiko lost to Kaylee Ray. And of course, Meiko is not happy about it. So this is like a big deal. I don't know what happened afterwards, but I hope I get more research on her. Next match, we have a co-main event. This one contains Japanese wrestling legend. You know her already. She's been on AEW twice. And of course, she is a mentor to Awesome Kong. And I'm talking about Aja Kong versus Piper, or as we know her in the NXT UK brand, Piper Nevins. This is a battle of two big women who are willing to take each other to limits. Like, it's so insane how it is. I mean, if you guys haven't seen it, you definitely have to see it. This is one killer match. Trust me. You don't want to miss it whatsoever. But of course, the one thing that was shocking is when Aja Kong gave her the back fist. Somehow Piper was able to kick out of it. It was like, what? But sadly, Aja Kong actually picked up the victory. Now, I have to say I was biased who was going to win, But this match was also awesome. I have to say it's awesome. Now, the final match was for the Eve Championship. This is like their version of a World Heavyweight Champion. It was Charlie Morgan versus Jamie Zayn. This was a very brawly match. Trust me, it's like unlike anything. Now, I don't know any of these two women, and I have to admit it. But to be honest with you, did I like the match? Yes. What do I rate it between 1 and 10? I say I give it a 11. For me, it's so insane. I did not know who was going to win. The more it was going to the pinfalls, the more I was like on myself, like, oh my god, oh good. But yeah. But I'll tell you who the winner is. They just had a new champion for that one, and that was Charlie Morgan. So she finally won this match. Now, I haven't followed much about Pro Wrestling Eve. If you guys are not familiarized, you can look it up on YouTube. It's everywhere, and you probably would enjoy it, much like I do. This particular match, you can see it on Fight TV. It's only $9.99. It's only about maybe over 2 hours and a half, and you would enjoy it. So for now, let's end it here and move on to news updates. Welcome to the news updates. Now, first things first, I like to know which one of you people still thinks the National Wrestling Alliance is dead. If you guys believe that, then you guys must be a total idiot or a bunch of morons. Now, I'm not saying this unintentionally. It's because wherever you're hearing this, whoever you heard this source is an Oscar Mayer wiener. Now, the news has spread already saying that Raven talked saying that Billy Corgan has talked about saying he was planning to shut down NWA. Now, Billy Corgan has already assured us he is not going to do that. Now, we have already witnessed Ricky Starks leave the NWA when they offered him $1,000 a month, but he did not want to sit down on this one. We even heard Zicky Dice left too, and he had a vacant the NWA Television Championship. Now, just because those two left doesn't mean it's over. Even Tasha Steelz left NWA and now she's with Impact. But there are wrestlers who still believe in the NWA, like Nick Aldis and Thunder Rosa. Now, the biggest news came out today. This was coming from SoCal Uncensored. According to this, it turns out that the United Wrestling Network, if you guys are not familiarized, this network has many promotions they followed, especially a promotion based out of LA called Championship from Hollywood. It turns out the parent company, the United Wrestling Network, or known as the UWN, that is currently run by David Marquez. It turns out that this network, along with NWA and Thunder Studios, has reached a partnership agreement. Turns out they are going to do weekly live pay-per-view shows that you can either see on cable TV, satellite TV, or streaming on Fight TV. Now, do I consider this as a good thing? Yes, because the problem is NWA has been suffering many things. Despite the fact, before the pandemic, it did a lot of great good for them, posting their weekly shows on YouTube, and of course, great pay-per-views, Into the Fire, Hard Times, and we were expecting the Crockett Cup, but of course it had to be postponed due to the pandemic. We don't know when they will be back, but this with partnering with the United Wrestling Network, that David Marquez, who's in fact also one of the interviewers and announcers for NWA, is an agreement and partnership. So this is a good thing. They said they will be filming a lot of this stuff in Long Beach, California. So I'm excited to see this. So, but we still gotta wait when the NWA will come back. So I'll keep on following this one. The next two articles, they're coming from Wrestling Sheet. This one, on the other hand, this was a very shocking but unexpected news. It turns out Priscilla Kelly, if you guys don't know her, she's a real well-known wrestler who's also was married to married to Darby Allin, has made an official release a statement that she and Darby Allin are divorcing. Yes, if you guys are Darby Allin fans and you guys have been aware that he's been married to Priscilla Kelly, then you probably be feeling sad. But Priscilla Kelly left a little statement here for everyone to read to understand. So this is her statement. The last few months have been extremely difficult, and there's been a lot of questions, not only due to COVID and loss of work for myself, but also the fact that Darby and I have been going through a divorce. There's been a lot of ups and downs, but we have come to a conclusion that we are just not compatible together as people. We are on good terms, and wish only the best for each other. There's no hard feelings, as we both understand this is what is best. I know that I know time as due, and we appreciate it so much. But thus, the decision is what's best for both of us and our well-beings. Continue on. Hold on. I hope to see him continue to his rise in the entertainment business and take the world by storm, as he's already is. As for me, it's time to begin a new chapter. As you may know or not, Darby Allin and Priscilla Kelly have been married since 2018. So it's kind of sad if you guys follow them that they're divorcing. Yes, but for you male fans of Priscilla Kelly, I know right there from looking at you, you'll be saying yes. Yeah. So don't even think about thinking you might get a shot of her. I know I won't. Now the next information came in. If you guys haven't forgotten, recently we know WWE has produced a brand new segment called Raw Underground, which is an MMA style type segment that is hosted by Shane McMahon. But however, someone familiar from both WWE, Impact Wrestling, the UFC, and all MMA world, Ken Shamrock, has called out saying that he would like to participate on this. Now, we haven't seen him on WWE for almost over 20 years. This is what he tweeted. Hey WWE and Shake Me Man, next time you guys want to do some work shoots on Raw Underground and actually make them look good, you got my number, give me a call. So we know that he's been with WWE. His last match with WWE was in 1999. So we don't know what's going to happen. Now, for all of you guys, would you like to see Ken Shamrock make an appearance in Raw Underground despite the fact that he's been appearing at Impact Wrestling? Well, that depends if Impact Wrestling are okay with it. It's not the first time that they've done this. They've done this before with RVD when he made a little reunion appearance at WWE. So, I think that's it for now for this. Hope you guys enjoyed me talking about the AEW Women's Tag Team Cup. Of course, giving you guys a throwback event with Pro Wrestling Eve and these news updates. So for now, I must bid all of you adieu. Stay safe, wash your hands, goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang!